Good day, everybody, and what's up? Welcome to the podcast for Selfless Sex, and She Comes First. I am Dr. Nick. Today is May the 24th, 2022, and I hope you all are having a great day out there. So, I'm glad to see that everyone really liked my interview last week with Miss Amy for the podcast on BlowJobs and on the PSA when it comes to swallowing. Those were received very well, so I'm glad to see you liked them. So on today's little podcast, it's the last little bit of my conversation with Miss Amy, and unfortunately, it's not going to be as long as my usual podcast, but the information she had to say is still relevant and it's still a lot of fun. And at the same time, I have some good news for you guys coming up at the very end of this podcast, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get back to my conversation with Miss Amy. Okay, after a computer mishap here, what type of hand techniques do you use on your partner?
Well, I have a double-handed twist. You know, like you're opening a soda bottle, or you're trying to open a soda bottle, or, you know, jar of pickles or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, it's got to be wet.
Yeah.
Or it's got to be wet. Mm-hmm. And I just go for it. It's hard to explain. It's the up and down twist motion. Mm-hmm. And you know, my mouth is over the top of his penis, mm-hmm. over the head.
So you're still sucking on the tip?
I am still, yes, absolutely, still sucking on the tip.
What other hand techniques do you have?
Cupping the balls too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm. You did say
it's
that.
like I include all of it in oral sex. I don't leave anything out, or I try not to. Let's just put it that way. Sometimes it just doesn't last that long. You know.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the mood.
Depends on the mood, right?
Mm-hmm. Next
question. How do you manage your gag reflex? Or do you even have one?
Well. What do you think?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I know.
No, well, there's this numbing spray that I have used on a few men in my life, but I find it's not really necessary if I'm mentally in that mood. I don't need it. I mean, mm-hmm. like Cardi B said, I want you to touch the dangly thing in my throat.
Oh, there you go.
So
I forgot about that song, but yeah, okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. I didn't.
Mm-hmm. When you trigger that gag reflex, like you want to bite down. Or how?
Don't bite the dick.
Oh,
Do not bite the dick. Don't use the teeth. No man likes that. Well, no man that I've known likes that. Mm-hmm. You know, there's some out there that like that freaky shit.
But your gag reflex,
I have a gag reflex. I do, but I also know when I'm going to gag because, you know, been at this for a while.
Experienced.
I'm experienced. Mm-hmm. Yes, I haven't.
Have you ever vomited or caught yourself?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Nope, I take that back. I did once, and that was only when I was pregnant, and I puked every day, all the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's because of your being pregnant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But so in that circumstance, it really was not. It wasn't related to the oral sex. It was more just you're like being nauseous from the pregnancy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I even told him. I told my husband, I'm going to throw up. He didn't want to listen.
Oh.
So guess what?
Oof.
Guess.
Yeah.
Pay attention. If she tells you she's going to throw up, she's not making it up.
When you're giving a blowjob, do you expect something in return later?
Later? Yeah, I expect him to come, but as far as like, you know...
This will be a PSA, just a tip sooner or later, but it's like women, from my personal experience, women who really enjoy giving blowjobs for their own pleasure, they're a special kind of dangerous.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Because they like it.
We will leave you in that bed going whimpering like a baby.
Yeah, that. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So when people are in that headspace and they're giving oral sex for their own pleasure, not to pleasure their partner necessarily, they don't expect something in return. They're getting theirs anyhow. But I'm just like, that's always that always kind of made me wonder a little bit.
My goal, I'm gonna tell you how I am. Excuse me, let me sit back a little bit here. My goal is when I am giving a blowjob, he has to come. He has to come. That is my goal. I feel like it is an unfinished product of my being if I don't make my partner come. So I'm not satisfied until he does. I'm going to work that dick until I get it.
And there you have the conclusion of my interview with Miss Amy. And as I said before, she's a lot of fun. We spent most of the time laughing that I just had to edit out, but that's okay too. I hope to have her back in the near future so she can drop some more words of wisdom to people out there who are listening. And in this small little brief interview, she really focused in on two main topics: her hand techniques and her gag reflex. And she uses something called the double-handed twist when she's giving someone oral sex, and I can only imagine what that's about. And she also mentioned something very important too, where she was talking about ball play and paying attention to the guy's testicles. Some guys like you to be rough with them, others don't like it so much. So therefore, you really have to take your time, talk to your partner, and find out how he likes his testicles to be played with, if at all. And then secondly, she really talked about her gag reflex. Early on, she mentioned that back in the day, she used to use a spray. And if memory serves, way back in the day, there's something called chloroseptic, and that was for people who had like general sore throats and they were just struggling to talk. But that was also a numbing thing too. And I remember girls back in high school used to use that stuff, but perhaps I said too much. But anyhow, and then she mentioned if she's in the mood, her gag reflex isn't really there. So I think, which goes back to turning women on and getting them really in the mood, they may be open to trying more things. So some of their quote unquote barriers may go away. And finally, she happened to mention something about teeth. She said, using her own words, some guys are into teeth, some guys are not, and most of the guys that she's interacted with are not really into teeth. So therefore, once again, you get to find out if your partner is into teeth or not. Me personally, no. And finally, her last words of wisdom were about making sure her partner was sexually satisfied and making him come. And if you have any questions or anything like that, go back to the swallowing PSA where she broke down who, what, when, wheres, and whys about swallowing and making sure her partner comes. So in closing, I just want to say thank you to Miss Amy for taking time out of her day so she can sit down with me and we can have these conversations about sexual health. And my goal is, hopefully, I can get Miss Amy back here, and maybe she will bring a friend with her, so then we can sit down and have a much more broader conversation about some other sexual health issues. So, on that note, I'm out. You guys have a great day. Stay tuned, and I'll talk to you soon.